2. Welcome back, everyone, to the studio for another week of 3 Things to Watch. Carly Smith here with Rob Washburn breaking down our 2 postseason headliners in CAA football. Rhode Island advances to the second round of the FCS playoffs after beating Central Connecticut State 21-17 last Saturday, earning its first playoff win since 1985. Villanova also extended their season last week after a 22-17 victory over Eastern Kentucky. The Wildcats pitched a second-half shutout in that one. Love to see the defense showing out in the postseason. Rob, let's talk about it. Rhody will travel down south to face number 7 Mercer at 2 p.m. on ESPN Plus this weekend. Running back Malik Grant is coming off of an amazing game. He rushed for a career-high 223 yards on 29 carries against the Blue Devils. This is a Rams team that has consistently stepped up in crunch time, finding ways to close out games strong in the fourth. Rob, what are 3 things that you're looking for in this matchup?
Yeah, Carly, the first thing that jumps out is whether Rhode Island can continue to have that success moving the ball on the ground. Malik Grant has run for over 200 yards in back-to-back games, becoming the first player in program history to achieve that feat, but he'll be facing a Mercer defense that's number 1 in FCS against the run, allowing only 64 yards per game. The second key will be avoiding critical mistakes. The Rams were able to overcome a pair of interceptions and a blocked field goal against Central Connecticut, but that will be tougher to do this week against a quality opponent on the road. The Bears lead FCS with 22 interceptions, with 7 of them coming from Buchanan Award finalist TJ Moore, so URI will need to take care of the ball. The final thing to watch is whether the Rhode Island defense can continue its dominance against a Mercer offense that averages 401 yards and 34 points per game. And the Rams have held 7 opponents to 350 yards or less this season and have forced multiple turnovers in 5 straight games. Continuing that trend would go a long way towards getting a win on Saturday.
Let's hear what Rhode Island's Jim Fleming had to say prior to Saturday.
It was all about just, preparing and doing the best we can on a day-to-day basis and trying to win the day. And I think we've been good at that. So the ability for us to put a game behind us and move on to the next has not been a problem. Now we just got to play better, and we're going to have a really good performance to beat a good Mercer team.
Villanova's on the road to face 6th-seeded Incarnate Word Saturday at 2 p.m. on ESPN+. Rob, it's not how you start, but how you finish. Last week, the Wildcats were down 8 at the half to Eastern Kentucky, but found a way to win. Big contributions from linebacker Richie Kimmel, who had 8 tackles and a forced fumble. And as I mentioned, the entire Villanova defensive unit kept EKU off of the board in the second half. Rob, what are 3 major points of emphasis for the Wildcats in the second round?
Yeah, Carly, all year long, Villanova has leaned on its nationally ranked defense, and they came through again last week, holding Eastern Kentucky to 286 total yards and only 3 points over the final 3 quarters. This Saturday, they face a high-powered UIW offense that averages 451 yards and 37 points per game behind quarterback Zach Calzada and wide receiver Jalen Waldhall, who are both Peyton Award finalists. Now, keeping them in check will be critical. The second thing to watch is whether Villanova can limit turnovers and control the ball. The Wildcats scored over 30 points in their final 3 regular season games and put 22 on the board last week despite 4 turnovers. David Abbott ran for 94 yards and added 75 more receiving against EKU, and he will need similar numbers in addition to strong play from quarterback Connor Watkins to take some pressure off of that defense. And finally, in close games against quality teams in the playoffs, special teams can be the deciding factor. Against EKU, Villanova came up with a safety on a bad snap, blocked a field goal, and got a pair of field goals from Ethan Getman. All of those plays proved to be critical in the win, and special teams could be the key again against UIW.
Now over to Villanova's Mark Ferrante prior to the game.
They're good. Watching them on film, don't know a lot about them. They look pretty balanced. They do have, a little bit more in the passing game than they have in the running game, but they have a really good team. They look very athletic. The left side of the line is huge. I think the left tackle is 6'7", 320. The left guard is 6'4", 350. So they look very athletic on defense. They're not huge at the linebacker level, but they run to the football very aggressively. And they're a good team. No matter who you face this time of year, you're going to face a good opponent.
Congratulations to everyone competing this weekend. We are wishing you all the very best. For results, recaps, and more, visit CAAfootball.com and follow along at CAA Football on social media.